Hello, everybody. So my life is unbearable, and I know that yours is unbearable too. I mean, there's a chance that it is unbearable, but you don't know about it, so I'm here to tell it to you and make it, more bearable. Anyway, so, yeah, I am alive. Well, depends on what you mean by alive or what I mean by alive, but anyway. Okay, now I'm getting to university, and, I decided to share some wisdom along the way. Since, as Zarathustra says, there is this abundance of honey that is overflowing from my brain. So why not? See, how do I escape this maze? Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I'm getting fat, and also I have a stressed out face because of how stupid the student life is for the most part, and because of my delayed sleep phase disorder, which is something that a lot of people are suffering from, but they don't really know about that. It's like when your brain constantly shifts its biological clock, and like you have to sleep like hour or 30 minutes later than you would usually go to sleep. It's like you're constantly trying to sleep a bit later than you would usually go to sleep. And naturally, when you have a work or when you have to go somewhere in the morning, what happens is that usually you're sleep deprived. And like the thing about it is that when you are aware of it, and when you are aware that tomorrow you need to wake up earlier, the more anxious you get, and not only you can sleep on the time you're supposed to sleep, but you generally, it basically evolves into an insomnia at some point. Okay, I think I've shoved my camera in someone's face, but I'll get used to it. So yeah, I had to read Wittgenstein for the class, and well, it's not that us normal people don't know that analytic philosophy is mostly for special people. By special people, I mean people with special needs. But this is Lovecraftian. This is on another level. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not that I have a big expectation from analytic philosophy, but this is special. This is something special. Yeah, I'll probably organize my thoughts about that. Maybe we can have a discussion on something as insignificant as that. Anyway, okay. See, I'm getting late, so I can't wait till I get to my university. I love it so much, so I have to go now. I have to run, okay? Let's go. Okay. That was a long run, I'm trying to catch up with David Goggins stuff along the way. I get my run done, early morning run, university, homework, everything, right? So yeah, my today's workout is done, so you can imitate me. That's how you do all your chores and all your responsibilities in a matter of seconds. Yeah, tram is arriving, and it's just a couple of stops, but anyway, Yeah, so what I was saying basically is that, so the time for analytic philosophy is probably, well, I mean, it's basic. The time for analytic philosophy is up. It's basically, it had its run. It's basically dead. It's just, yeah, people are attending its corpse, and somewhere down 20, 30 years, yeah, the analytic philosophy as we know it today won't even be around. Yeah, those guys were trying to solve problems in 15, 25-page papers. That's not gonna stick for too long. A tram. Let's see. Okay. So I got off the train, or of the tram, so that you can have more of me. Yeah, so me and Gabriel had an interesting idea that we might go through Thus Spoke Zarathustra one by one on YouTube. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, so you know what? There is one thing that I might do for my master's thing. You know, I've been working on Heidegger for quite some time, but although I've got pretty good at it, there's one thing that I always kind of, you know, overlooked or didn't pay much attention to. And the reason for that is it didn't speak to me. And that's Heidegger's philosophy of death, and how he treats death as something special for Dasein and something very unique that affects only humans who have worlds. Because death for Heidegger is world collapsing. It's when Dasein, the entity that is being there, for which the problem of its existence, for which its existence is a problem, meets its end. So, and by world collapsing, of course, we're not speaking about the physical world or the actual world, but the world as projected by being, and being the source of intelligibility. World as a symbolic structure that makes sense out of entities, and how you apprehend those entities, and what you perceive or what you understand as real, as not real, as significant, as insignificant. Being organized as your hierarchy of values, and how you bring the world into being in the first place. That's why you have the history of being, where different understandings of being bring forth completely different types of paradigms. The understanding of being of medieval age is ens creatum, where every single entity is qualitatively a created entity, and therefore the truth there is that which corresponds to the mind of God. And for example, the understanding of being for our current time is Gestalt, that is enframing, where everything is understood as a resource to be exploited and to be put to a work. That's why everything, like you are a resource for your job, where basically your job utilizes you and your body and your brain as a resource. Females are resources for sexual exploitation. You know, the items that you purchase, yeah, and you know, you get the point, right? The water, the river, and so on and so forth. So your understanding of being structures your intelligibility and how you understand the world, and death. That's why for Heidegger, animals cannot die, right? Animals can only perish, because death is something that can only happen to Dasein, because death is world collapsing. And Heidegger obviously criticizes the statistical understanding of death, being the death as the point on a bus stop that awaits you at some point when you meet it. It's, you know, a statistical phenomenon. You know, to the contrary of that, for Heidegger, death is something that is always here and always limits your possibilities and is always coexistent with your life. And death makes it possible, in some sense, for you to project yourself into future, because it limits your possibilities within which you project yourself in the future. But and I can go deeper into that, but I always understood it cognitively. I understood it with my brain, but I didn't really understood it in the flesh and blood sense. It never got into my bones. And after I arrived in Austria for my master's degree, I did reach a sort of maximal stress point and maximal anxiety that kind of provoked my death anxiety to a point where I had some profound realizations, which I'm going to share, but now I have to get to the university, so yeah. Okay, so getting back to home. It's freezing, but anyway, so what I was saying then, I was speaking about death and Heidegger. Yeah, so being here basically has, for some reasons that I'm not gonna go into right now, for some reasons there was this maximal stress point that I had, and this maximal anxiety that pushes you into the Heideggerian mode of where, whereby everything acquires this hazy effect to it, whereby everything recedes back and you confront this absolute abyss and absolute nothingness. And at some point you realize that it's not that you are just anxious or you're suffering from anxiety, but you're also afraid of anxiety. You're afraid of being anxious, and so you're anxious about the anxiety, right? So anxiety becomes anxiety about anxiety in your life. Now, at some point when when different things happened at the same time, different bad things happened at the same time to me, I kind of achieved that maximal stress point where I was like, well, I'm gonna let it take place. I'm not gonna resist it. If I survive it mentally, then something good might come out of it. It's like a new clearing, or or whatever happens. And I did that. And when you have this strength, and that's the thing about Nietzsche, right? I mean, irrespective of how cliche it is, it's really the case that whatever doesn't kill you kind of makes you stronger. What I realized is that anxiety about your future, this whole thing about what ifs, like what if I achieve this, what's going to happen to me, am I going to be successful, what's going to happen, like what if I do that, what if that happens to me, what if this happens to me. I realized that this anxiety regarding your future is actually death anxiety. That's the revelation I got from the maximal stress point. When I let it happen, when I let myself go in some sense. And I'm good, I'm saying that in a good way, like not letting myself go in the sense of becoming irresponsible, but letting myself go in the sense that I'm not gonna try not to be anxious anymore, because like that endeavor itself, like trying not to be anxious, drives you more anxious. You just have to just let it happen. And what happened to me is that this maximal stress point generated this sort of, what would you say, calmness, sort of tranquility, some sort of stoic ataraxia. Not in this, modern, this fake chill, this sort of, what would you say, Untermensch, some sort of like a last man way where, you have these people who, with no purpose of life and just smoking weed and just being chill for no reason. Like they're not supposed to be chill at all. Just a second, let me show this to you. It really looks nice. Yeah, it really looks nice. Okay. Anyway, so, okay, I shouldn't stand here. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying is that, yeah, and so And it's very interesting that happened to me when I exited my comfort zone of my mother country, let's say, of my of where I was living before, because it's kind of, you have to become responsible for your life. You're out of your comfort zone. You're trying to survive outside of your comfort zone, and like you have to kind of come in terms with your demons in the sense of you cannot afford being anxious anymore. So it's like either the anxiety is going to consume you, or you are going to consume your anxiety, and that way it's going to disappear. Disappear in the sense of it's kind of becomes, it becomes you as opposed to your enemy, and therefore it kind of annihilates. So the revelation I'm speaking about is that basically your anxiety about future is a death anxiety. And what I mean by that is, and the moment you the moment you accept your death, in the sense of, you kind of coming in terms with the idea that your death is not that big of a deal. Like you generally think that this idea that you're going to die is a catastrophe, it's a disaster, it's something unthinkable. No, it's very thinkable. It's and the world's gonna move on. But the thing here is that what I'm trying to say, that this is not some sort of a nihilistic conclusion that you should be okay, that you're insignificant, and no, on the contrary. Make your death uniquely yours, as Heidegger says. What I mean by that is that, think of it this way, right? To circle back to the idea about the future. When you think about, let's say, I've lost something, and I was thinking about, am I gonna find it? Am I not gonna find it? Some additional problem that I couldn't afford, this and that. When you're thinking about the things about the future, what you are really anxious about is not the things, but is the death of the sub-world that you are projecting in the future. Let's say, like my case, right? You just forget something. You just lost something, and you're anxious about whether you're gonna find it or not. What you're anxious about is that if you don't find it, the part of yourself that formed a world as a result of the experience that is connected with you purchasing that item or collecting money for that item or something of that sort, like this experience of you having a relationship with the item, that part which is emotionally laden, it's gonna die. Let's say, this is something that happened to me, but like, the thing about your future, let's say, if you do not achieve this or that, if you do not become what you desire to become, that is death anxiety, right? Because if that doesn't happen, or if you happen to be unsuccessful, the part of that you projected in the future, that acquired life of its own in your mind, that he's gonna die, or she's gonna die, or it's going to die. So basically, you're afraid that your projected future, which already acquired a life of its own, is going to die. So any type of anxiety regarding your future is ultimately a death anxiety. And the thing about it, so the bigger point I'm trying to make is that when you come in terms with the death anxiety as such, death proper, like the real death, those sub-death anxieties about your future, they go along with it, they go away. Like the moment I came in terms with my death, like, yeah, it's like, you know what, like, am I gonna live what, like 50, 60 years or what? Like, is that it? Why should I be worried about things that will or will not happen, even like irrespective of my work? And this is not like this subtle art of not giving a fuck or whatever, this American nihilistic bullshit that I'm proposing here. It's not giving a fuck. No, I give a fuck about my life and about people close to me and everything. This is not what I'm promoting. This utter really this utter ideology of last men who are just still live in this consumerist society or whatever. Like, no, I'm not speaking about this cockroaches who are trying to just justify their hedonistic lifestyle and, you know, with their subtle lives of not giving fuck, basically being justified of their irresponsibilities and no. What I'm saying is that the opposite of that you should be okay with you not existing, and that gives you the tranquility of not being really anxious about what's gonna happen. You pursue your dreams, you pursue your goals, and whatever happens, and the thing you're gonna think, oh, that's very trivial, but it's not the trivial part, it's just how you come to arrive at the triviality, that the trivial understanding, namely the understanding that the anxiety regarding your future is ultimately a death anxiety. And it's freezing and my dick is frozen to a level that no anxiety is gonna solve it, I think, and I need to get home.